Yes, hello. I have a couple of things I want to talk about with you, and I'm not monetizing this video because one of the things I'm going to be talking about involves a terrorist incident in Israel from years ago, but I just wanted to use it as an illustration of recent events here in the UK. And out of respect for the victims of both, I am not going to monetize this video. So I only tell you this because if you see adverts on this video, I didn't put them there. That's the first thing. The second thing is I wanted to talk to you about YouTube Premiere. I'd been looking into it and I thought maybe we could have one premiere session sometime next week. Now, I don't really understand it, so it might be a total disaster. But what I'm going to do is upload a premiere and then you can discuss the subject in real time. I haven't chosen a subject yet, but anyone who's subscribed will get a notification. Anyone who's clicked the notification bell will get a notification about when it's going up. And so this leads me into asking you, please subscribe. A lot of people watch these videos and they're not subscribed. And, phone going off. I'll just tell you, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Okay, I'm back. It was a neighbour. I sent her some flowers for her birthday, so she wanted to thank me for them. All right, now I'm back in the main part of the video, and I wanted to talk really about the Rudakubana case. Everyone, of course, is very shocked by what happened, by the viciousness of the attack, by the horror that those children must have suffered and the horror that their families will suffer for the rest of their lives, no doubt. And it has been a national trauma, and it has caused us to at least to start thinking about immigration. It might even have penetrated the thick skulls of the Labour Party, although I don't hold out a lot of hope for that. It certainly will have changed some people's minds about the prison sentences for the people who were talking about this before our dear leader deemed it possible for us to talk about it. But when I was studying this dreadful instance, it occurred to me, and I know I have some subscribers in Israel, so I'm sure you'll be backing me up on this. This is every Tuesday and Thursday in Israel. This is happening all the time. And we here in Britain, at least not me, but many people just expect the Israelis to take it. Now, what prompted me to talk about this was a comment under I don't remember which video. It was one of those comments that come in on the hidden because it might be nasty area. And unfortunately, the system, and a bit difficult to describe, but what happens is you see, as the owner of the channel, you see people's comments. And then you have another section which says held. And you look in the held stuff, and that's things that YouTube are nervous about putting up straight away, and they want you to make a decision. So you click on yes, 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 or whatever. I never delete any video, any comment rather, unless it's a comment that makes an explicit sexual reference to me. And believe me, I get quite a few of them. And judging by the grammar, I have to say mostly from Muslims. But that's another matter. So, where was I? Yeah, so there's the held ones, but in the held ones, there's a subcategory. And that is, I don't remember exactly what they call it, but it's something like, do you really want to see this category? And I click those and I always say yes, 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 unless, as I said, the previous comment. Now, the problem with those is that I can't reply to them. All I can do is click yes, but when I see these messages, some of which are quite nasty, some of which are perfectly reasonable, and I cannot understand why YouTube is quarantining them in such a way. But I always click yes, but then they just disappear off the screen and go into the category where they were. And sometimes they're really difficult to find again. And even if stuff I want to respond to, I can't, because I can't find them again. Now, in some cases, I'm assuming people have put them up and then deleted them, which is why I can't find them again. Sometimes I think maybe I've just forgotten the wording, and so the filter won't retrieve them. So this is one of them, and at least I made a note, and I can't find it. So the person who posted it might have deleted it, and then again, I might just be incompetent in my search terms. Here we are. And it was about Gaza. So, I've made several videos about that, so I couldn't find it that way. And this person, whoever it was, used the term sealed behind walls for 70 years. So I'm extrapolating here, but I suppose that what this person is saying is that the Gazans, the Hamas who got into Israel and did that horrific sweep of anyone they could get hold of, it's sort of excusable because these people were sealed behind walls for 70 years. And I did want to answer that. And of course, I couldn't find it. So, yeah, I'm answering it here. First of all, I do want to point out that Israel has two borders with Gaza, a western one and a northern one. There's an eastern one and a northern one. The sea is on the west. And on the south, there is another border, which is Egypt's border with Gaza. And Egypt's border with Gaza, I'll try and find a photograph of what their border looks like. Now, Israel's border was sort of a wire fence in most cases. It was still a border. I'm not saying just because you could see through it, there was nothing to it. But it was just a wire fence. The Egyptian border is more buttoned down than anything East Germany came up with during the time of the Berlin partition. It's just astonishing. As I said, at the moment, all I've got next to me is my granniopteryx logo. I'll put by now, I hope you'll have a picture of, or two, of the Egyptian border. And the Egyptian border is so severe, the town of Rafah, which is half on the Gaza border, in Gaza, there was another part of Rafah as well. Rafah was split into two for some reason when this whole thing was partitioned up. The Egyptian side of Rafah has been completely bulldozed flat. The Egyptians destroyed it because they didn't want any Gazan settlement going on there. And this person is saying that, I suppose this person is saying that Israel deserved what happened because it's been sealing Gaza behind a wall for 70 years. Or what about Egypt? Why was she not saying that for that reason Gaza has the right to go into Cairo and start maiming, murdering and kidnapping over there? It's obvious that this person, this she, or however she identifies, is not seeing that. That's the first thing. And then I thought, well, first of all, historically, Europe has not treated Jews that well. And in many cases, there have been Jews who have been brought up in ghettos in German and Middle European towns and have never left the ghetto their entire lives because they've not been allowed out into the wider world. And yet, when the Jews were allowed out of the ghettos, did we hear of hordes of them going into Cologne or wherever Warsaw or wherever the ghetto was, and murder, rape and kidnap all the people in the local town? You never hear of it. So are we saying that the Jews are more civilized than the Gazans? Well, it looks that way, doesn't it? I want to point something else out. If Gaza has been sealed behind walls for 70 years, so has Israel. Every Israeli has been sealed within the borders of Israel ever since the State of Israel began. As soon as the State of Israel was declared, the Arabs tried to invade it from all the countries surrounding. And when they lost that battle and some UN person had a green pencil and drew a line where the exhausted armies all stopped fighting each other, which is why it's called the Green Line, Israel was sealed off. Israel is a big ghetto. Now, you can look at these two examples here, Israel and Gaza. Israel survived, first of all, because the people were very determined to survive, and secondly, because they did get a lot of help from abroad. There were a lot of American and British and, what was left of the European Jews contributing. So you see hospitals with, this ward was donated by, I don't know what, Izzy and Bertha Goldstein from Chicago, or something like that. And so that did obviously give the Israeli society a leg up. But that's not the whole story, because you see, however rich Izzy and Bertha Goldstein were, the king of Saudi Arabia was quite a bit more rich. And if Gaza needed help, it should have been able to get charity from some of the very rich members of the surrounding Arab societies and get a similar leg up. But that didn't happen. And you have to ask why. Well, the Jewish communities outside Israel wanted Israel to succeed, and the Arab communities outside Gaza wanted Gaza to fail. That's the only possible answer. And the Israelis were interested in staying alive and creating a society, whereas the Gazan people were not so much focused on staying alive as in killing Jews. And their whole society is based on a negative. That is, death to the kafir, death to the Jews. Although when they invaded Israel in October 2023, they killed Arabs as well. And, Filipinos. I mean, just anyone. They just kill kill. That was their message. All right, so let's just boot this sealed behind walls for 70 years thing out of the field. This Jews had been sealed behind walls and they made the best of it. They just made the best of it, didn't they? Right, now, what else do I have here? So I've dealt with the fact that Jews were in ghettos and didn't explode outwards in extreme violence. And I've just talked about Israel, which in many ways is a huge ghetto. And they still didn't explode out of that with extreme violence until extreme violence was exerted on them. And even so, I have read several reports by army experts. I mean, and I hate to use the word experts because it's so much overused, by people, career soldiers, who have said how the Israelis have set a standard for urban warfare which has never been achieved by any other army ever in the whole history of warfare. Now, I want to return to the Rudakubana incident and to something, I'm not much up on recent terrorist attacks in Israel, but I do remember reading about one. This was many years ago, 20, could have been 30 years ago. It was an incident, but one of many. It's just one. I happened to have small children at the time, and it affected me so deeply I have never forgotten it. So I will tell this to you, and I will first warn you that it's an extremely harrowing story. Okay, so what happened was a group of Palestinian terrorists, I don't know what group they belong to, came into Israel on from the sea. And they got into a house where there was a mother, a father, and 2 children. Now, when this happened, the mother, she managed to get into a cupboard with her youngest child and hid there. So the terrorists found the father and I think a little girl about 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old, something like that. And they wanted to take the father, and the father wanted to leave the little girl there, and the little girl insisted she wanted to be with her daddy. Yeah, that was an awful thing. These brave Palestinian terrorists, I think the leader was 16 years old or some sort of age like that. They took the father and the child out to the beach. They shot the father in front of the child. And then this 16-year, I think he was 16, he was still a teenager, I'm sure, leader of this group. Remember, great big strong men, a father trying to protect a 5-year-old. They shot him in front of the child. Then the leader of this group bashed the child's brains out against a rock with his rifle butt. What happened to the mother and the baby? Apparently the mother had been trying to stop the baby from crying and ended up smothering the baby. The baby died. That is just one of many. And what Rudakubana did was just like that. Now, this happened 30 years ago. And ever since then, things have been almost normalized in Israel. The Israelis go about armed. Many of them are armed, and they're shooting these guys all the time like this. And Israel still has managed to keep a civilized and Europeanized society going. But people are always telling them to, cool it, give way, bargain with these people. You can't bargain with people who are driven mad by ideology. And as we've seen in this particular recent court case, in this particular recent terrorist event, I don't care what Starmer calls it, I call it a terrorist event, and it reminds me very much of the situation I just described to you. If we don't want this normalised, we have to confront the issue and do something about it. All right, well, yeah, that's it. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.